I don't have a microphone. I'm just filming because I am not wanting to do a little thing I want to do, so I'm just filming now. Hi. Let's go show you my head. I have shaved my head, which none of you are happy about it if you're fucking 85% of males in my audience. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. What do you expect of anything? I don't really owe anyone time of my energy. So you are very lucky that I am actually telling people about what I do. So at least now you have an answer, okay? Um, I've had long hair in the past. At a certain point in my life, I started shaving my head just because I liked the feeling of that, and it helps the temperature of the fucking summer, which is a nightmare for me, which I didn't know at the time. I've been doing it for probably years. I've probably been shaving my head about that might be 9 to 10 years that I've done that. I've shaved myself. I've shaved my head myself, or somebody has done it for me. I started shaving my head after getting the brain surgery. Before the brain surgery, I did have somebody shave it for me because it was too fucking hot, even though it was not the South. That was a time when I was living in Utah. And my hair was like ugly at that point, which is not common, I'll be real. My hair looks fabulous in general. I get very, cute, curly hair when I let it go to about here. At that point, it grows into more of a wavy instead of a curly. So the curly looks cuter to me. But ultimately, the sensory issues I get from my hair. Too hot. Too much hair that it's in my way. The loss of hair, which means it can do to your drain of your bathtub, your clogs drains, or you just also have to shave, brush your hair sometimes, and you have to collect your hair all the time. It's a lot of maintenance to have hair. I want to let you know, I'm aware that hair is generally as very identifying thing, that people can have this as their own thing. This is my body. I have this hair that if the way I do naturally or the way I change it's a personality thing. It's part of their appearance, and it's very important to a lot of people. And I do understand that if people have forced other people to shave their heads, it's because of the way society does and the way that individually it can be to have your hair, that it's dehumanizing to remove people of their hair without consent. So a forceful thing is to dehumanize people. This is not what we're talking about, because this is I do to myself, that I prefer things. I have thought of this. I have done this before I had the brain surgery. So I'm very aware of the shaving of the head. Hair can be great. It's cute. I fucking hate it. It's a nightmare thing, and I thought I was going to try it this year to maintain it, because at a certain point, so with the hair growing, it gives me, there's at a certain point of the length of the hair can disrupt me and give me annoyance. So at a certain point that the hair gets here and it bothers my back of my neck, at a certain length, then I have too much hair that it's in my fucking face, so I can't see as well, or it's in my way. And sometimes it just, in general, gives me more itch, and then I have to clean all the maintenance of that hair. You have to shampoo it. Sometimes you're supposed to brush. It's just extra maintenance for literal sensory issues. It's like a torture for me, and I thought I would last because at a certain point with this length, it got long enough for the back of my neck that it didn't itch me as much. So I was like, oh, I might be able to handle it. No, because then it got too long for the front that now now I can't even fucking see, and I couldn't handle that. So I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have this whole year because I couldn't afford, I guess I could. I couldn't afford, and I couldn't find cheap options for shave thing. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to do it again. I'm gonna have to let this grow this whole year. It's an extra, I would be having my hair grow for a full 2 years. And I'm really glad, like, my mom I was asking if I still have the option. I do have a razor now, but I accidentally water damaged it because it's my first time to have one, and I didn't know you're not supposed to water it. Because I think it even said you can clean it. Might have even said water safe. In which case was a lie, because it was cheap. It was cheap then. It is cheap now because I had to buy a new one, which it wasn't that expensive. It was like maybe $15. When I did for this one broken one that I broke, when I first bought it, I was like, oh, it's 15. It was better than it is now. Because I went to the barber's first to see what the price is, and it was like fucking like $30-$40. And I was like, well, fuck. Because this would be the easiest thing they could do, and they still charged it the same for an actual cut. So it's just literally buzzing. So it wouldn't have to be they have to specialize any of it. It would just be me going bald. And it would still be $40. Like, I think it was 40 when I checked. I don't remember. If it was the lowest, it was 30. And I was like, what the hell? You still have to tip. At the barber, at anyone doing your hair, you have to tip. Yeah, I know. Tip culture. It's a nightmare. So everything's expensive and you have to tip. And then you're like, what the fuck? Because they're there for a long time. For some of those people, they take a whole ass hour. And then you're like, well, you should be tipping because it's an hour. And it's actually specialized for you. And so I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go get another thing to go. And now I can just use this once a year. This is the way I like the things. I shave my head for bald. Once it gets too fucking hot, I'm sweating, I'm not liking it, it's a nightmare. I shave it so that I don't have to deal with doing any barbers or haircutters, so that I don't have to go every 6 months for someone to cut my split ends. I used to do that, obviously, when I was growing up and as an adult, until I figured out, oh, I want to do this. This is my ideal. I really like to do it this way. So not only I save money, I save my sensory system going, that I'm a little more satisfied with the way things are. And things are just the way it is. So I shaved my head first before I had brain surgery. I swear to God. Oh. Maybe I didn't. Oh, maybe I didn't shave my head until, I might have shaved my head once I had the brain surgery. I'm confused. Okay, well, let me tell you about this scar. Goes around like that. Wow, isn't that so cool? Oh shit, fuck. So it's like this. You would be used to is aneurysms of the brain. What you're used to, it's like a version of a stroke, except for There was no body issue except for the brain. Aneurysm is that your brain can't handle something, and I don't actually remember how it is. I woke up, I'm just saying this one time, and I'm not going to say this ever again because it's like, there's a lot of things about it. I've already talked about it a little bit. I guess I'm giving a full, the whole thing done. So there's that. And ultimately, with this thing, for this brain surgery, it was not even an injury. I woke up with a massive headache that I did not fall. I just woke up with it. Get to the hospital, get set to the other hospital because the neurosurgeon wasn't there. It was at a different hospital, so I moved to a different hospital. It was actually the people were working great at basically everything. Generally, probably everybody there was doing a great stuff. The brain surgery was resulted based on a hemorrhage of the brain, which is not an aneurysm in itself. I don't remember exactly what an aneurysm is, but mine does not qualify for an aneurysm, kinda. The thing had no the only thing was a bubble of blood in my brain, so it was clogging up. That's why it was giving me the headache, blacking out, and that's why I needed to go to the surgery. The neurosurgeon did a great job at it. Ultimately, they did induce a coma for me to see if I can live or not, because when it's something to open with the brain, especially if it's something that was accidental, it wasn't something they knew it was going there, it's just there, instead of, oh, there's cancer, So we go figure it out, and so they just try and see if it's gonna live. So I got about a 50-50 chance surviving it, and I did. I don't remember how long I was asleep in the coma. Maybe a day or two, I think. I wasn't there. I don't remember. I did wake up. When I woke up, I did not know that it was brain. I thought I was in the hospital when I woke up and I see my family there, I got annoyed, very frustrated that I was in the hospital at all. I thought I had a sprain. I thought I had something with my ankle because I just had no idea that there was something with my brain. I realized it was serious the next day, so I my family was there. I was like, leave, because I was very pissed, frustrated that I was there at all. Did not know. I think when I woke up, I don't remember it. When I came to, that I realized I was there, that's when I kicked them out. Then I was like figuring things out. I was in the hospital for about 17 days. I was getting things back to the way it was. My vision was separated a little bit. That was neurological. That had nothing to do with there was nothing with the actual eyeballs or anything. It was all back in the brain. And the speech issues was really messed up. The balance, I didn't have balance issues while I was there. The balance issues would be based on the vision issues. while I was there in the hospital, because they have to make sure that everything's safe there while we're healing me up and all of that. So I had a nurse with me like all the time because brain. I did actually shower alone, which is not what you're supposed to do, for a certain nurse that I will not remember their names, and did let me shower alone, which is not what you're supposed to do because you could slip and actually die because it's brain. Or maybe all of them, I don't even know. When that nurse changed I didn't shower every day because I just didn't. I'm not exercising. I'm not sweating. There wasn't really a need to get, showering every fucking day. I just still don't shower every day because it's not all the way. I don't know why the need of showering every single day. I am autistic. I am ADHD, so you say what you will. I don't give a fuck. When the different nurse came in, she was like, okay, if you want to shower, I'll come with you and help you because I'm supposed to be there for you. I was like, I don't know what she heard because I didn't have speech the same level that she'd understand, but I was trying to, if the communication, whatever I did, it was trying to get to the point that, guess what, I've been doing it on my own, so I actually can handle it. She was like, well, you're actually not supposed to be alone because you could slip and we want to make sure you're there. So whoever my nurse was definitely not doing their job. That's okay. I don't give a fuck. I didn't have enough a competency to understand what was going on while I was in the hospital to even sue if I wanted to. So that was a nurse who was not doing, that was having an easy peasy nursing because I'm supposed to have to be there with me almost all the time. I got occupational therapy while I was at the hospital, which was this fantastic, oh my God, I want to say her name was Devin? No, it's something different. Something similar to that. But there was this cool doctor who was doing all of that and was so fabulous that I did not feel any condensation, no. Condension. She was not condescending to me at all. And I felt very safe and not being abused or anything, and that I was being seen as a human being while I was there, which is complicated because a lot of people did not handle that well. I also had an occupational therapist there who was there while I was, like, during the night or something. She had such an issue with me. She would try and get me to communicate that it takes time. Because, the different wires are not where they're used to. And it would frustrate her that I couldn't communicate the way that she was expecting to. I did see frustration from her while I was there. And it wasn't I don't feel that she wasn't condescending. It was just, she just didn't know how to help me. Because to her, she didn't understand. She knew what it meant that I literally have, my wires are different. They're not the same way they're supposed to. I have to fix the wires. She did not know how to make it easier for me at all. But I did say one time, we liked that one because she used silverwares, and at one point there was a fork, and I would have to say, she would go, this is fork. And I would say, try to say fork. And at one point I did say fuck. And they started laughing, and I realized what it was, that it was fuck instead of fork. And I laughed too because that was pretty funny. That is pretty funny. It was rough starting up with any of it. The speech issues, I have speech issues now. It is not the same as it was then. And at this point, I wouldn't even say that it's based on the brain surgery anymore. I think I have healed that as much as possible. And I think the results that I have any speech issues is strictly autism, almost entirely. So it's more of perceptions and the way people view me that stresses me out, which means I don't speak as often. It takes me longer to process because of perception of people. And at the time, it was very, very hard to hear me from that, which means there were videos that I did on YouTube, I did on TikTok while I was out of the hospital that I was trying to still communicate. And I liked being able to film, and people did not understand what I was saying. They probably didn't understand that I was misspeaking anyway. I tried to communicate that I was back from the hospital and all that. A lot of people cannot handle the ease of communication. Generally, people, which I will say is probably capitalism again, that people do not have time to appreciate communicating in other ways than that is as usual and easy and normal. That if there's a different way of fast communication, they will be frustrated. People have done that when people simply can't speak for a short amount of time, like, oh, my tonsils got out, I can't speak. People get frustrated from that as is, and then you put it into somebody who temporarily, eternally, they cannot speak based on what we're expecting. People will not understand, and they will not accept that type of things because it takes time to even communicate at all. And people, because of capitalism, are not used to appreciating time and other ways of communicating than just speech. And I knew, because as an empath and also as just an autist, I can read body languages. Everyone reads body language. I can read body language even stronger because I can feel the energy of people, at least neurologically, if not for in my body. That I can feel whatever a person feels. So if a person can speak professionally, that will not appease me at all. I will still read exact energy you have in your body as is. So while I was there, I could see, I know my neurosurgeon pissed me off a lot because I did feel I was condescended in a lot of ways. I don't remember exactly, but I did know that this guy saved my life. Yeah, I can appreciate that. But I did not appreciate the treatments while I was awake. So I read people's energy than I do for the way that they speak. Which does make sense that to me, communication is, it's easy. Yeah, but I'm still reading the way people feel about me before they have to communicate at all for me, which is generally, it's pretty common for autists in general. So probably any autistic person, especially a nonverbal person, I entirely believe that they already know how you feel about them because they can read your energy. So just because they didn't communicate to you, they already know that you view them in a certain way. I would just say about that. I can still feel that. I felt that when I was in the hospital. I feel that now. Even if I get somebody being very professional with their speech, I can still read that they're condescending to me. And you know what? Ultimately, it is what it is. It's another version of survival mode that people don't want to waste time. They find it as wasting time for providing space for people who are different than them. And I get it. You're in your, I need to live, I can only live on my own. I can't have any community and I can't view other people's because I need to survive. Is what it is. I could have been in speech therapy longer, but ultimately it's just, that speech therapist was awesome. Once I was out of the hospital, my occupational was good. My speech therapist at the hospital was fabulous. My speech therapist towards my other hospital, when I was released, that person was super awesome. And my vision therapist was above and beyond. I had great therapists, especially for all these occupational versions. They were amazing. When you have people spend their time for healing for people for extended time than just a surgery, those are the people who are there to let people live and thrive more than just fixing a wound. I'll be real. I understand fixing a wound is necessary, and those are, very complicated work that's very, very, very important, very perfect for people to have. I want to know that people do not get as much appreciation for those who are in versions of rehabilitation. When you think of people as, for surgeons, they try their best, they fix the wounds, and they hope for their best. The people for the rehabilitation, they themselves are there for, you've gotten all these wounds fixed. Let's see if you can make this thriving when you heal over time. So we can make this live as long as we possibly can, but not just living, thriving. We can figure out if we can do our best and if we can just adjust for this type of change when you get a different wounded thing. Whether it's neurological, physical, whatever it is, those people are the people that bring things into great fruition for growth and health, all of that type of stuff. People don't appreciate it as much until they do it themselves. I will be honest. You're just like, a physical rehab is just like, They don't understand about it until they do it themselves. Because, again, capitalism, they don't have time to understand about humans. That's another thing of they don't believe in disability until they get disabled themselves. I did understand a disability before I was disabled. Maybe because I've always been the autistic ADHD. I just didn't know I had it then. Or maybe I'm just, it's probably that. Because I could just say I'm just empathetic, that I can understand where people are. But I've always viewed that regardless of their speech levels, that people live there. There's literally mind there. Just because you can't communicate with them doesn't mean there's nothing there. People literally did that to people, though. For people who have difference in communication, like people who are autistic, people who are depressed, a lot of women specifically would get lobotomized, which means they forcefully silence and create people into vegetables based on theirs. So there was a mind there that was silenced. And I wouldn't say it's the same for people who were born that way. I know that they have minds in their bodies just because they can't communicate to you doesn't mean that there's nothing there. You will, if you can't see disabilities as is, you will have disabled at some point in your life. And it will be a shame that you can't consider human beings until it happens to you. That's fucked up. Means you're weak. And I hope you figure it out sooner rather than later, but it is what it is. This is your iteration. We'll see what your next one is. We'll see. Every single person gets disabled in this body, no matter what. Unless you die fast, in which case, that's it. I still have speech issues. So if I'm slowed up, it's because I have to process things. Audio is difficult for me. That was when I was there. I had to relearn English. I learned Japanese before I had a brain surgery. I still remember some of it, not nearly as much. And I do want to know ASL. I want sign languages, and I might get more than just one. I just haven't had the time and energy to learn about that, which does bother me that I haven't been able to deal with it yet. I probably want to, but ultimately I can only learn at a certain amount of time, and I have a lot of learning go on right now, and I'm doing a lot of things, like with all the gardening, with all of the coding, with all of the cooking and cleaning and all this type of stuff. I only have enough energy. So I hope I get to it at some point. Let's go see. We'll figure it out. I don't know if I will start learning ASL this year. I might get to it next year. We'll see. Ultimately, yeah, that's how I'm like. Oh, I believe because of the brain surgery, I assume that, okay, people have they hold a lot of trauma in their own bodies, and it's complicated. It's hard to tell for a lot of people because you can have very physical illnesses, just things that happen from your genetics, from your whatever you've got. Sometimes you just have issues. But I wonder if you can differentiate between holding trauma or things that would be genetics or things that were changes of your life, like accidents and all of that. It's complicated, right? I can't say that a person is holding a trauma. I wouldn't be able to know that, would I? I can kind of assume, but it's not my body to understand about those type of people. I can with myself. I do kind of do, because of the way I was raised and being an empath, I do try and do Messiah complex all the time, where to understand people, to heal them, I have to understand what the things are doing. And so I can see a person and be like, oh, they're holding on that trauma. I'm trying to release myself of that Messiah complex, which isn't helping anyone, honestly. People have to heal themselves. Because if I tell you I love you and you don't believe it, I'm not going to fix a thing. I'm not going to say, I think you have an issue. And you could probably fix it by this way. And they would be like, you're right, that probably is. And they wouldn't do it. Because people have to choose what they want to do to heal. So I believe that in that time when I had a brain surgery, the blood of Bible, the hemorrhage of the brain, I think I subconsciously created this thing because I knew that, oh shit, you're gonna never get a good job because you're autistic. I didn't know I was autistic at the time. I didn't even know I would be ADHD for after I understood I was autistic. That at that time, I knew that there's no support, especially in the workplace, for autistic people. And I would have understood that if I continued to live, to exist still, then I would be working very hard to even continue in the working place. And probably at that point, subconsciously, I created myself an option to either live or die with that brain surgery. So I created a wound that I could choose to die without having to kill myself. Or that, and could be that with surviving this, people would have to value me as a human enough to give me help. So it would be from this surgery that people would have to spend time to help me with homework, spend time to communicate with me, which would take them a lot more time. So people would have to literally spend extra time to value me as a human, to be willing to feel, to deal with healing. And so that was mostly my family, specifically my mom, who helped me all of this for that I don't think that I would get that. Oh God, I wouldn't have that from the workplace. I wouldn't have that societally. People have to love you to take you at your worst based on things like this. And so I subconsciously made that a thing. I do not think that, but at a certain point, I have healed physically from this. Now, if I want to grow any further, I have to do it on my own, which means I want to acknowledge myself as a human being, and I deserve love. I have to accept love of myself so that I can let the love flow happen between people and myself. We're not a river, we're like a well, but honestly, you want to have the option between people. I don't know. Circle of water, I guess. I don't know. So, yeah. I did create it subconsciously. I think I chose to get back to it, and I believed that if I loved myself enough that I wouldn't need to expect from a society, I could create my own world, and those who would be willing to love me exactly as I am, as I heal myself, I grow as I want, the speed that I need, with all the love that I can, that people will get to that point. I will learn about how to communicate. I will learn, not everybody can be communicative, because there's still possibilities of accidents. I am partially blind. With the vision therapy, I did work as hard as I could. It just couldn't connect from the brain. But that thing was fabulous. My goal was so that I could drive again. I'm okay with that. I had a gift. I had a goal for this type of stuff that I wasn't able to do it. I had great therapy though. Anyway, with vision therapy, didn't fix my vision, but it did give me fantastic practices for my balance, my regulation of my current vision, and all of that type of stuff. And she had like the most The most healing, probably psychologically. Everyone was really great there. They were fabulous. She had some of the great healing stuff for my growth. Oh, I'm getting emotional because it was really awesome. I don't know that anybody's going to even be this far because it's been 40 minutes. And I don't expect them to be there that long. There's a lot of people who can create love for people. I don't think people understand the love that people forget the greatness, kindness that they provide for people. And they mostly do these, sometimes it's just their job. Sometimes it's just the simplest kindness things. And they'll never remember from the people that they've helped. They'll never know it. But some people will never forget it. They already say this all the time, but when you're doing your best for people that you wouldn't even consider as a great thing, sometimes it really is. Which does make me think more about community, that the more connected we are with people, the greatest we can ever be. But there are mentors that you can get and all of that. Ultimately, you still have to love that you deserve to be loved and accept love in yourself, to appreciate the connection with people. So ultimately, if you can value yourself, you can grow and learn from so many more people than you would expect without loving of yourself. Or maybe even you just can remember it in the future about, oh my God, that was a fabulous time. I don't know that I loved myself at that time. You can still always remember the kindness that people provide you, because I will never forget those type of people. Okay, so it's been a crazy phase of life with a very big change. And I don't find it to be, I think that was the greatest thing that could have happened for the drastic change in my life. So I guess I gave myself 50-50 chance. I think it has given myself the option to have the greatest life I could get from this iteration. So sometimes at a certain time in your life, you can have something that would be the worst thing of your life. And at a certain point, when it changes you, that it does get to be, has folded and molded you into such a point that has shown you greatest option of your life you ever had.